My name is Zuri Marshall. I teach literature at a public high school, and I believe in the power of stories, especially the ones we write ourselves. This one starts with a door that didn't open. It was a warm Saturday in May when I showed up for a viewing at a brownstone I'd been eyeing for weeks. I'd saved for years, paid off my debts, and finally had enough for a decent down payment. The building was old but elegant, ivy on the walls, wrought iron railings, and a quiet charm that felt like home. Mrs. Gladys Whitmore greeted me at the door. She looked like she'd stepped out of a 1950s etiquette manual, pearls, pressed blouse, and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Miss Marshall?" she asked, glancing at her clipboard. "Yes," I said, hopeful. She hesitated. "I'm afraid the unit's already been taken." I blinked. "But I have a confirmation email. You said it was available." Her smile tightened. "It was, but someone came earlier, signed on the spot." I stood there, stunned. "You didn't call to cancel?" She shrugged. "Didn't have time." I left quietly, but something about her tone, her glance stayed with me. Later that evening, I checked the listing. Still active, still available. The next day, my friend, white, unemployed, no references, got a tour. Mrs. Whitmore offered her the unit without hesitation. That was the moment I knew. It wasn't about availability. It was about me. I didn't yell. I didn't post online. I went back to my books. But this time, I wasn't reading fiction. I was studying real estate. I started with YouTube videos, how to buy property with no experience. I took notes like I was prepping for finals. Then I found forums, podcasts, and webinars. I learned about shell companies, auctions, liens, and zoning laws. I spent my evenings buried in spreadsheets and city records. Turns out, Mrs. Whitmore's building had problems: code violations, a tax lien, and a foreclosure notice quietly filed with the city. I didn't have a law degree. I had curiosity and grit. 3 months later, I created a shell company with a name that meant nothing to anyone but me, Marshall & Co. And when the building went up for auction, I was ready. I dressed like I belonged: blazer, flats, and a folder full of documents. The auction was quiet, a few investors, a few whispers. I placed my bid, and I won. Just like that, the building was mine. Mrs. Whitmore had no idea. She still lived in Unit 1A, rent-free, grandfathered in from decades ago. She didn't know the new owner was the same woman she'd turned away. I sent out formal notices to all tenants: renovations, lease updates, compliance checks, and one special envelope, hand-delivered to Unit 1A. Inside, an eviction notice, citing discriminatory practices, lease violations, and failure to maintain the property. She stormed into the lobby the next morning, waving the paper. "This is outrageous," she shouted. "Who do you think you are?" I smiled. "I'm the new owner." Her face drained of color. You bought this building?" I nodded. "Signed, sealed, delivered." I learned more about her in the weeks that followed. She'd inherited the building from her late husband. She'd kept it afloat with minimal repairs and maximum control. She denied applications from Black women, immigrants, and anyone she deemed too loud. She'd never been sued, never been caught. But her reputation was whispered among renters like a warning. I wasn't the first. I was just the first to come back with a deed. She moved out 2 weeks later. No fight, no farewell. I hired contractors, replaced the plumbing, repainted the walls. I met with every tenant, explained the changes, listened. Some were skeptical, others were relieved. One woman cried. She'd lived there for 10 years and had never felt safe. I told her, "You're safe now." Before the grand reopening, I hung something in the lobby: a framed copy of Mrs. Whitmore's eviction notice. Beneath it, a gold plaque that read, "Justice isn't loud." It's signed, sealed, and delivered. Some called it petty, others called it poetic. I called it memory. A reminder that silence doesn't mean surrender, and dignity doesn't mean weakness. I think about that day often. The clipboard, the smile, the lie. I think about how many women like me have been turned away, how many doors have closed before we even knocked. But I also think about the power of learning, of asking questions, of refusing to be underestimated. Because when you teach yourself the rules, you can rewrite them. The building is thriving now. We host book clubs in the courtyard. We offer tutoring for kids. We have a waiting list. I kept the name Marshall & Co., not for credit, for ownership. Ownership of my story, my space, my power. And every time I walk past that framed notice, I smile. Not because she lost, but because I didn't let her define me. The message: if you've ever been denied, dismissed, or disrespected, don't shout, don't beg, don't break. Learn the system, learn the loopholes, learn the language. Because revenge isn't about rage, it's about results. And sometimes, the best revenge is real estate.